What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ, and I have a very special guest today joining me for the series is back. Super Women in Sports. We are here to celebrate you. My guest, Ruth. What's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this series because I've been learning a lot about women in sports, and there's a lot of us out there. So we need to be, we need to be congratulated. So I appreciate that.
Of course, because this series was made off of like a very toxic time last year in the football season, and there's many women out there that are football content creators, women in the industry doing interviews and stuff like that. They don't get really celebrated. They always get talked down about. They're always challenged. But this platform right here, we support you guys, and you're going to be celebrated today. We're going to talk about your upbringing, some of your favorite moments, and just how things are going on for you.
Well, I mean, where do you start? I started with the love of sports as a young girl. I mean, I was taller than, the average girl. So I knew that I had to use my height for good. And my mom tried to get me into modeling, and she was all like, be the girly girl. But I grew up with brothers, and on the block that, from where I came from, I was the only girl out of 5 boys on our block. And we were all around the same age, and my brother's only a year and a half ahead of me. I'm the baby of 4. So I kind of took on that role as being the tough girl because I had to stand my ground with all the, kids in the neighborhood. So I started playing sports because across the street, one of my friends, he just got a basketball hoop, a really, really nice one of those that get like implanted into the driveway.
Ooh,
you can also move the net to be higher and lower. And I would see him out there shooting around by himself. And one day I kind of just picked up the basketball and I never put it down.
Wow.
And basketball was my first love for sure. I was probably like 8 years old when I started trying to dribble a basketball and learning how to do between the legs and all that. So that's kind of where it started. And I was an athlete all through middle school, and I started playing flag football in 8th grade. And I realized I have hands. And then I realized I can throw a ball really far. So I kind of capitalized on that. And I played in little leagues around the neighborhood, and football was just basketball and football just became like my thing. And I was like, this is really great.
You were born to be a baller.
So I had to use my height and my athleticism for a reason. And, my brothers kind of helped me make me tough. So you could fall because all the time accidents happen, you get injured, but I was always the one, brush off the gravel off your knees and get back up. And, that kind of just translated who I am as a person today. So sports has a lot to do with who I am as a person. So I think that's because it made me tough and it made me competitive, and you have to be that way to survive in this world. So it all started with sports, and I have a lot to thank for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you were born to ball. I mean, to play football, to play basketball, that's awesome. And playing
I have a basketball hoop that I've been wearing around my neck for probably 8 years now, and I never take this chain off. So when people see it, they're like, "Are you a baller?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I could shoot around. I got a little bit of handles. Let me not talk too much game, but I definitely I really enjoy watching it. Like the NBA from start to finish, I'm the one to watch preseason. I watch throughout the whole regular season. I'm so happy that Giannis Antetokounmpo got that MVP. I mean, I'm sorry, not the Finals MVP as well as winning a championship. Totally incredible. I'm a huge Clippers fan, so they were almost there, and it really sucked that Kawhi couldn't play, but it's just the name of the game. Like people get injured and things happen, but I really, really enjoy watching basketball as well. So. Later on in high school, I realized that I was super injury prone. Like I'm always getting hurt. I have the worst ankles. I'm always rolling. Things are always happening. So I started thinking to myself, okay, I'm probably not going to play in college. Let me come to that realization right now. So what other avenue can I take to still be involved in sports media, in sports in general? So
you thought about this in high school?
It was definitely a question. I was like, is it something I could do?
Fence.
Like I really enjoyed watching, my dad always used to have Sports Center and ESPN on all the time. And I really enjoyed watching it. And I knew that I wasn't a shy person. So I don't get shy when the camera turns on. I love
that's a gift
talking to people. So I'm like, maybe that's something I could do. But of course, 18 years old, straight out of high school, you might not act upon it right away.
You really don't know where to start. That's the thing. Though. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to go to really dig into that.
Right. So I got a job at Disney being a bartender, and Disney
Oh,
money
nice.
just kind of sucks you in. So I was a bartender server for 7 years, and I was able to purchase a home, which was amazing. I was able to do other things, but it wasn't fulfilling to me, like
Yeah.
being on someone's clock and punching in at 4 o'clock, not leaving till 2 a.m. Like, yeah, the money's
Yeah.
great, but it wasn't feeding my soul. So I'm like, I gotta figure it out. And then I realized, I'm like, why don't I just get involved in sports media? Like, I could figure this out. So my sister was
Yeah.
like, my sister called. I had a long conversation with my older sister, and she gives me a lot of wisdom because she's 12 years older than me. So she knows a lot more than I do. And she was just like, Google what you need to do. Figure out how much these people make. Like, you want to be a broadcaster, start putting the foundation, start putting the stepping stones. So once I did all the research, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And that week I went to school. I registered for classes, and I put a plan in front of me, and that just kind of got the ball rolling. Yeah, once I got the plan down, I was like, okay, I can make this happen. Now I can physically see what I have to do and what I have to accomplish to get to where I want to be. So that was like just it was like one of those light bulb moments. You ever like kind of it just clicks and you feel like just something turns on, you know? Boom. And so I started going to school like 2 years ago. I graduate next week. Finally.
Wow, congrats.
So excited to graduate.
So how was that during COVID though? Was that challenging to get through
it was definitely switching to online classes. Man, let me tell you, you have to have some discipline to be on top of that when you don't have someone scolding you like, hey, this is what you need to get done. This is what you need to turn in at what time, you know? So that transition was really difficult, but I had to power through. And this summer, before the summer semester started, my advisor at school was like, hey, you could take, 6 classes and be done this semester, or you could split it up. And I was like, oh, wait, so I only need these credits in these classes and I could be done in like 8 weeks from now. And she was like, yeah. I was like, okay, why not? Let's see if I can handle it. I've never done more than 3 courses at once. So jumping to, that many, I was a little scared, but I'm a week away. Grades are looking fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of myself. So yeah, it's happening. Everything's just kind of falling into place for me right now.
As it should be.
And I thank sports for that, because I probably would be a lost soul right now trying to figure out who I am and where I stand. But I realize that I'm really good at this, and people really enjoy the content that I put out, and it just kind of just keeps me motivated. People are always telling me like, you're going to make it one day. You just got to keep pushing. You got to keep learning, get better, build your knowledge. Don't, a lot of people might think like, oh, she's cute and that's how she, gains an audience. But I might be cute and gain someone's audience, but you don't keep your audience with just your looks. That's something that people need to realize. For me to keep building my audience, I got to keep wanting people to come back for more. So I got to keep putting things out there. So it's just been a great journey, and I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I got to say, I checked out some of your stuff, and you're good. You have great camera presence. I mean, you're well outspoken. It's like you're made for this. You were born to be a baller, and in the sports industry as well, obviously. Yeah. So I definitely, I checked out your stuff. I looked at the Sports Talk Florida. I seen
that's where it all started. I'm telling you, my sister, she worked for Genesis Communication, which is under the umbrella of Sports Talk Florida. And I told her, I was like, I want to get into an internship. I want to start, getting into the field while I'm still doing school. And she was like, hey, call this person and apply for the internship, because they're looking for journalists to cover the sports column for Sports Talk Florida. So I made a few phone calls, put in whatever I had to do through school, and started getting credits for school, doing things with Sports Talk Florida. Yeah. And, next thing I knew, I'm sidelined at the Orlando Magic games at the Amway Center. That's and awesome. I'm just kind of like, and they're all like, yes, ma'am, you go this way. And I'm like on the court, and I'm like,
this
am I really supposed to be here? Is this really happening? Like,
you start thinking.
I didn't have to pay anybody to. It was just one of those moments where I was just like, wow, like I cannot believe this is happening. And then I would say like my third Orlando Magic game was against the Golden State Warriors, and I'm a foot away from Steph Curry, and I was just like, this is insane to me. This can't be happening. This is a dream come true. So I definitely shot my shot. I went up to Steph and I was like, I think you were a phenomenal baller. Like, can I just please like give you a handshake, and he gave me a hug, and I'm telling you, the knees buckled. Like it was hard. I felt like Bambi for a moment because I was just like his aura is just incredible. And then his warm up before tip off.
Yeah.
This guy is talented. And to see it in person was just on a whole nother level. And I will never forget moments like that. And then, I met a lot of players, and it was just awesome. And, I think it's the best thing in the world, and makes me happy. So I know that I'm in the right place.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous that you were able to get that. I mean, that's amazing. Like, you have to cherish moments like that, because meeting Steph Curry, hugging Steph Curry, first of all, is like crazy.
And he kind of looked at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, just I'm a huge fan, so this is just incredible right now. So but I'm trying to keep it professional. I'm here to report a game, and I hope you lose tonight." So, and the Orlando Magic actually ended up playing phenomenal. Kevin Durant wasn't playing because this was during the 2019 season when he was still with Golden State. So Kevin Durant did not play due to an injury, and Aaron Gordon went off for like 45 points that game. So the Magic actually ended up winning, and they won by 15. So double-digit lead on, previous NBA champions was pretty phenomenal. So that was an awesome article and video content to get out. But, unfortunately, the Magic have not, things have taken a turn for the worst.
We don't have to talk about it if it hurts, if it's a little too painful.
But things are looking up. New coach, new culture. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Good luck.
Yeah, let's hope we can make some great choices in the draft that I believe is happening tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So NBA draft, so that's exciting. Yeah, so I'll be watching that.
Quick.
It really did. Usually, I mean, I could be wrong, but I could have swore I saw something on Twitter about draft coming up tomorrow. So I don't know if anybody's in the comments to confirm. I'm sure
people are going to be checking right now.
Yeah, because I saw something and I was a little surprised. But Magic, oh no, man. Even though I live in Orlando, I spent 20 years of my life in Orlando. And when I first moved to Orlando, Tracy McGrady was going off in Orlando, but they still
what a time.
They still never made it far in the playoffs. So it was always kind of, disappointing.
It is what it is. So I seen you're doing interviews. Well, you were doing interviews for XFL players. How was that experience as well? I mean, I was very interested in that league when it was up and running, but I seen that, you were interviewing, players after the game, asking them how they played and stuff. How was that experience of getting into that as well?
Well, first, I kind of just applied for credentials while I was under the Sports Talk Florida umbrella, which I'm still working with to this day. And I thank them so much for putting me in great situations for me to just network and, get more involved in the community and just meet a lot of people. And they had told me, they were like, "Hey, we know that you live in Orlando, but the XFL is going to have their own team. It's going to be called the Tampa Bay Vipers." I was covering the Orlando Apollos. I don't know if you remember this, but there was an AAF league.
I do actually.
Yes. This was before the XFL, and
I was covering that too. I didn't know that.
I was covering the Orlando Apollos, and we were really good. We came in the first place. Yeah, it was only, I think we made it to week 6 before the league folded, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was very early. It was a good league. I don't know why, but
it was really entertaining. I enjoyed watching it. Orlando had a really good team, and it was nice to, have some football. I mean, they have MLS, but it was nice to have some type of football right there in my backyard. And they played at the Spectrum Stadium where the UCF Knights played, who I also covered for Sports Talk Florida. So I also did a little bit of college football. You just got to keep climbing the ranks,
I love it. I love to see you
one step at a time. Because unfortunately, these seasons don't last forever. They're just kind of like a short window. So once the season's over and they crown a champion and playoffs are over, you're kind of just like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, that's really how it has to be. I mean, on to the next.
Yeah. And since I can balance, a little bit of everything.
I looked at your bio: NBA, MLB, NHL, XFL, MLS. Jeez, you cover it all. Like, how do you find time to actually tune into all these things and do the research, the articles, the podcasts? Like, I can only focus on soccer and football. That's it in my life. I can't fit nothing else.
Well, what I find helped to stay on top of everything is don't fill my time with anything else unless it has to do with that. Like, so I'll always have ESPN playing on in the background, or when I'm in the car, I'm constantly listening to podcasts. I'm not really putting on music and things like that. So I'm constantly just, it's going through my head all day long. So it starts to stick, because obviously when you watch ESPN all day long, you kind of hear the same things over and over again, because they're covering the same type of breaking stories. So once you hear it a few times throughout the day, it really starts to stick. So I kind of find that helpful. And people are always like, oh, what kind of television shows do you watch? And I'm like, a game, like whatever game is on. Like I really don't watch television, and I feel like that's been really helpful with me and what I want to do, because I'm not trying to fill my brain with anything that's not gonna be productive for me.
To your goals, really. That's what it is.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. Because there's a whole bunch of reality TV and just straight garbage. And when I was in high school, I used to watch what was that show called? Bad Girls Club.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so my mind was, and watching those kind of things as a kid, you're just like, I don't want to be that when I grow up. Like that was my
the worst.
Yeah, that's kind of how I stay on top of things.
Do you remember Flavor of Love with Flavor Flav?
Oh my Flavor Flav.
Perfectly executed by you, but I'm not gonna do it. But Jesus, what a bad show.
I forgot what Halloween it was, but I got the helmet that he wore with the horns, and I wore the big chain with the clock. But thankfully, the clock was like made out of styrofoam on the inside, so it was really light. And I know that his was like super heavy because he used to But yeah, I was Flavor Flav one Halloween, like I think like 2014 or something like that.
Oh, we need that picture. We're gonna put it up.
Yes, you see, that's why I keep my private Instagram account like private, so you guys can't find those kind of things. You gotta stay ahead of the game, Keep everything separate. Like this is my personal life, is because I mean I'm human. I'm not saying that my life revolves around sports 24/7. I mean, it's maybe 24/6, you know what I'm saying? But I go to festivals. Like this weekend I went to Rolling Loud, and that was a great experience. It was interesting. I would say that I probably wouldn't have gone if I wouldn't have had my friend who works for a modeling agency that was able to get me in with her. I don't think it's an event I would pay for, but I mean, it was different because I go to a lot of EDM festivals like EDC and things like that. So it's a different environment. It's a different crowd. So like, it was definitely interesting though. But Megan Thee Stallion put a great performance on. DaBaby did as well. Mm-hmm. Somebody threw an Adidas sneaker at his head, which I thought
saw that.
I thought that was inappropriate. I was like, whoa.
Was it you? Was it you?
Wasn't me. I don't wear no dusty Adidas. No. But yeah, it was interesting. Jack Harlow, who I've been following this guy for, I don't know, I started listening to him back in 2015.
Really?
He's recently he's recently blown on and become more mainstream. But he was one of the performers I was really looking forward to. So it was nice to see him live. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't spend a lot of time in Miami. It's a little too expensive for my taste.
I was gonna say, Miami's kind of expensive. Like I don't go there that often because I ain't got the money for it. I'm good.
Yeah, it's like $40 in tolls just to get there. So you already know that you're gonna spend a lot of money. So, but I have been to a Miami Heat game at the American Airlines Stadium, which is a beautiful arena. And Miami always has really nice beaches. So
it's always craziness going down there. But I try to stay away, stay out of trouble.
Right. So I guess after my internship with Sports Talk Florida, I was covering Orlando City and Orlando Pride, and their seasons kind of corresponded. So I was at the stadium probably like 4 days out of the week, and I started doing a lot of writing for them. But then the quarantine happened, and no sports was going on, and I was like, what do I do now? That was a really scary first couple of weeks. I was, because I was watching the Dallas Mavericks game when, what's his name? Mark Cuban went over to the bench and like broke the news that they were shutting down the NBA. And I was kind of in awe. Like everybody went back to the locker room, and I was just like, wait a minute. And then that was like a domino effect. And then everybody, started pulling out. Like soccer was done. And then I was like, what's going on? Like,
MLS
so
is done. I think MLS
that was a really
like the second team that pulled out.
Yeah, so that was a really long couple of weeks, like trying to figure that out. But once they started saying like the NBA was going to establish a bubble, then they were going to have a bubble for MLS. Things started coming back to fruition when it comes to sports. They were actually playing games. I had a colleague of mine that I met at an Orlando Magic game. Shout out to Eric Wilson from the Sports Arena. He reached out to me after I had made a Twitter account because I had just got on Twitter 2020, May of 2020. So I'm kind of new to the scene.
Really new.
Yeah, new to the scene. And he reached out to me and he was like, Ruth, like, are you still following like sports? And I said, absolutely. He was like, hey, so the NFL draft is coming up. Do you want to be on a live like coverage podcast for the NFL draft? And I'm like, that sounds like fun. Like I'm kind of up to date on what's going on with the draft. So I decided to do it. So and that was, that was all she wrote. That was kind of what started my whole podcast journey. And then I got on to Set the Sails podcast, who covered the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then from there, I got offered my own show. So I started Beauty and the Cleats. And then the same week, I started the Tom Gronkowski show that I still do for Fans Only Sports Network. That's going to be airing in just a few hours. We go live at 9 p.m. every Wednesday, and it's called the Tom Gronkowski Show. And we talk about everything going on with the Tampa Bay Bucks because I'm a little bit of a fan of the Tampa Bay Bucks. Not just because Tom Brady. My sister went to school at FSU, so we were all Seminoles fans. So we followed Jameis Winston and his journey. So when he got drafted to the Bucks, I paid a little bit of attention. But my first team that I really started following, like as a kid until now, are the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
so I know that we're under the NFC. I understand. I get that. But, as a kid, you kind of get brainwashed with what's going on with the family. And my dad and my uncles were all Cowboys, like all about the Stars. So I kind of got sucked into that lifestyle for a little bit. But I also covered
my Cowboys fan too. He's probably watching, but obviously you can see him out as a Rams fan. So I'm the black sheep.
Oh, okay. So how did the love for the Rams come? Was it just
honestly? I became a fan before they went to the Super Bowl, so I'm not a bandwagoner. I was there when they were losing and they were mid-tier, but I'm from Jersey, so therefore I'm supposed to like the Eagles. I just end up hating the Eagles. Like a lot of my family, they're Cowboys fans. The first game I ever watched was Marshall Faulk, like just basically going crazy, and I just fell in love with the game and him. So I'm like, I'm a Rams fan, and I stuck with it since day one, and I've been loyal to it. So a guy from Jersey is a Rams fan. It's a little weird. Everybody thinks I'm from St. Louis or I'm from LA or I live in LA. No, dirty Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. When you say dirty Jersey, what does that even mean?
Don't drink the water. The Jersey is the beach is disgusting.
Okay.
The boardwalk is the only place you want to be. Put it like that.
Well, unfortunately, we're having I think like red tide at the Tampa Oceans right now, so we're not doing so well. But I mean, I wouldn't call us Dirty Tampa just yet. But
Dirty Jersey has been like quoted. It's ours. We stamped it. It's all right.
Right. So yeah, huge Cowboys fan, but I also cover the Bucks. So great choice.
Apparently, you got some Cowboys fans.
Shout out to Cowboys fans that are in the chat. Yeah, well, like you, it became an obsession with a certain player, and for some reason, I was infatuated with Tony Romo. I actually have a signature NFL football behind me that was signed by Tony Romo. Like, I'm one of those weird girls that I don't want a Gucci bag. If you can get me an autograph, anything, give me some memorabilia that I can put in my office. Like that's what I really want, So my prized possession, LeBron James and the whole Cleveland Cavaliers 2018 team.
Just a small flex. That's just a small flex.
And this was actually given to me by Tyronn Lue who was actually the head coach for the Clippers right now. I actually met him at Disney. So I was like, hey, we're going to be friends because I know who you are, So we kept in contact, and I'm hoping that now that I'm graduated that he might be able to give me that, that little help that I might need to get back in with the NBA.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's all about networking in this industry as well. So it's definitely important to have these relationships and be able to just, catapult and as a, you know, a springboard. So that's definitely dope. That I hope you get it. Honestly, I mean, graduation's in the week. That'll be sick.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
going on, John?
it's all about who you know. It's all about the
Of course.
impressions that you leave on people. So I always just try to shake everybody's hand and get everybody a smile and be like, this is me. Like, this is me 100% of the time, and this is what you get. So
Yeah.
just got to be very up and forward with you know, media. You can't be afraid, because fear is what's going to take you away from accomplishing your goals when it comes to media. Because if you're afraid to say something, for example, I was covering the Orlando Pride, and I can't remember the player. She was an Australian player that played for a team in the US that was facing the Pride. And she was like all-star caliber. She was the reason why they won that game that evening. And I had an opportunity to get a one-on-one, like a sit down with her, like recorded and everything. They were like, "Hey, do you want to speak to such and such?" I can't remember her name right now. I feel bad that it's slipping me. But I was like, okay, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't feel prepared to sit down with her for a one-on-one. So I backed out of it. I was like, you know what? I don't have the material, you know, to do that today. And that was like, I couldn't stop thinking about that situation for weeks, because I was like, I should have just jumped into it. Like, I know how I am. I'm good with just improv. Like, I'll make it work, you know? So that was the last time that I was going to let that happen. I was like, that was a mistake. I'm going to learn from it. I know how it feels now to regret those type of moments. So I'm not going to let that happen again. So that was something I had to learn, you know, as a young journalist, and I will never let, you know, something like that happen again. So this industry is all about learning your mistakes and trying to get better. You got to continue to get better, because you can't just stay stagnant. You got to continue growing.
I don't think
I like going up, you know. I don't like staying like this. I'm meant to be up there, you know, up there.
Exactly. I'm on that same type of wave, man. It's about learning from those mistakes, and it's about how you respond. If you respond in a negative way, you're going to keep making that mistake. You're going to keep staying stagnant. You're not going to, you know, elevate. I mean, I take those L's that I did have in the beginning of, you know, start doing what I'm doing, and it motivates me. I just got to keep getting better. I got just keep going. I can't look back. You know what I mean? That's definitely something that, you know, is on brand for me personally, because like, even off this, like on and off the internet, you deal with things in life to learn from and just keep going through it. And you just got to keep pushing through. So that's awesome that you learn from that experience and telling yourself you'll never let that happen again. And
I didn't. I kind of got thrown into that situation during the XFL season. I mean, the small skit that they had. And I had the opportunity to interview one of the players, but I also didn't have my notes with me. Everything was upstairs in the press box. So I was like, am I going to, you know, risk him not standing here for 2 minutes while I go and get my material and my notes? Or should I just, whatever, I have my phone, I have my camera, like, let's do it right now. So that was probably the video that you saw when I was interviewing, the XFL player. I just threw myself into it. I was like, I'm going to make it happen.
I couldn't tell. To be honest, I really couldn't tell. That's how I know you have great camera presence. You're just able to, the energy's there. You're able to keep people entertained and just have no notes. Now you telling me you weren't prepared, but it seemed like you were very prepared.
I appreciate that. You know, that's those kind of comments is what keeps me going, because I know that this was just what I was supposed to do, and I'm going to figure it out.
So here's the thing. What's crazy about this series as well, because you have other women that are into sports, that are, you know, ballers that played sports all through high school, et cetera, and they want to make this move to the industry. Like, you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching this, and you could be motivating them. Like, hey, I'm gonna get the tools, I'm gonna get the knowledge, the resources to make a podcast now. And like you said, it's not about, you know, the pretty face or anything like that. It's about maintaining and putting in the work. You know what I mean? To keep up with everybody else that's doing the same thing. Like, I definitely applaud you on what you do. That is awesome, because you never know who you're motivating right now in the world. Somebody's watching. You never know who's watching.
Right. And situations happen, like things don't work out. Like, for example, I moved to Tampa to pursue a TV sports analyst job with Martine Gramatica for Z Living. And I was living that out and doing that show Monday through Friday on live television for Z Living for 6 months. But unfortunately, things weren't working out with, you know, the owner and things like that. And he wanted me to wear tighter shirts and more makeup and wear my hair a certain way. And I just felt like I didn't feel like that was the right thing, the right way to be handling it. So I had to make a choice. Like, do I continue doing this where I'm kind of unhappy because he's more worried about what I look like instead of what's coming out of my mouth? Or do I just go back to the drawing board and figure it out? And that was a huge, that was a huge moment for me, because I know that's probably not going to be the last time that I deal with a situation like that. But the way I handled it and the way I was able to kind of just brush it off and be like, okay, well, I moved out here for that, but it didn't work out, but it's back to the drawing board. Like, I'm not going to let something like that hold me back. And it's been amazing. These past 3 months of technically being unemployed, I've gotten so many projects started, and this next month is, you guys just need to be ready for the content, because I am flooding you guys.
That's what I love to hear. Look, everybody that's watching knows that's the type of vibe I'm on. I'm ready to flood your timeline. You're gonna see me. You're gonna hear me.
Right.
You're even gonna read about me. Like, that's the type of vibe that I'm on. And like, I represent, if you can see, fire content only. You got to grind 24/7, 25, 27, whatever. The fire.
Bring that fire always. Yeah. So I'm taking the journey in the next couple of weeks into radio, and I'm getting my own show. So that's awesome. Kind of the secret. That's a phone call.
You're really excited about it. Like, you want to sing it.
Oh my God. I got the phone call this morning, and
I know
they were like, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Can you do this? Like, this is what's going to be expected of you." Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is my break. This is what I've been waiting for. Like, of course I'm ready. Like, I was ready like a year ago. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm going to put in the work. And now it's going to be a position where I'm going to be getting paid for it. Like, get out of here. Like, this is exactly what I needed. So super excited for what's to come. Follow me on Twitter. I'll give you a follow back. Root the Truth with Triple H at the end, and just get ready. Get ready, because I mean, we're 48 days away from NFL season.
We're almost there.
It's about to be time to fire the cannon. So I'm really excited. But I mean, I'm super torn with week 1 for the Bucks and Dallas in week 1. I'm like, of course, first week.
It's gonna be a lot of eyes are gonna be on there. I really. That's a game that's probably going to be game of the week, to be honest.
Absolutely. Like, everybody's anticipating and already talking and putting out content about week 1, Tampa and Bucks. Yeah, I'm sorry, Bucks and Dallas matchup. And I'm really excited to see how he's back, back into action. I'm excited. I saw something on the news, because I follow a lot of Cowboy accounts, and I saw that he exited practice today with a sore arm. So yeah. It's been a while that he's been putting the intensity on that shoulder. So he's got to shake some rust. That's all it is. Try not to panic. Not going to panic. But I'm really excited for the NFL season to start. Yeah, because I mean, now as soon as, Giannis was crowned the champion, I was kind of like, all right, well, the Lightning just won. Phenomenal boat party, by the way. Tampa Bay is about them boat parties. I'm telling you.
Now I gotta go. You're like the second person to tell me about this.
You have to come check it out. When the Bucks won the Super Bowl, back in February.
Yeah.
Insane. Like, so many people on jet skis. Yeah, and everybody, people in Tampa, a lot of them have jet skis and boats and things like that, because we live on the water. So there was just a ton of fans on their jet skis following these boats that with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, and like, Rob Gronkowski's on the party boat. Obviously, they're all shirtless, going crazy. And I was just like, this is really happening. Like, this is Tampa Bay is full of champions. That's why they call it Champa Bay. And we represent our city.
I like that.
Yeah. And I live right in the heart of Tampa. So I'm like, I'm 4 blocks away from the Raymond James Stadium, and I'm less than a mile from Amalie Arena. So I'm kind of just in the middle of everything, and I couldn't be happier. Like,
look at you. You booked and busy. You're in the heart of the city, man. You're living good right now.
Blessed, man. Blessed. God's been listening to my prayers.
What's your routine for putting out content? What is something that you do that you just have to do before you go in and just go zoning out?
I probably spend a good hour on YouTube, looking up material over certain topics I want to talk about, looking up video footage for whatever team. Like, I'm subscribed to the Tampa Bay Bucks YouTube page. So all the content that they've been putting out for training camp, I'm going through it. I'm looking through interviews and, with with hopefully this going through, I have to, get vaccinated for this to happen. But I've applied to credentials to be in the building for game days for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So being up in front and center is going to be pretty easy for me to bring the fire to the shows, because it's going to be like, yo, so this is what happened last week. And I was there. So you heard it first from Ruth the Truth. Like, it came right from, the stadium itself. So that's definitely going to be a game changer for me, that I'm going to be able to hopefully be in the building. I have to go get vaccinated and get all that stuff squared away first. But hopefully I'll be in the building week 1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to be so torn. I'm going to be like in the press box, like sweating, like just
wear
completely
a Cowboys
sweating.
Jersey with a Tampa Bay hat. You're good.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you have to stay unbiased in the press box, and it's actually like illegal for you to wear jerseys.
Really?
Found that out the hard way.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Wait, first of all, how did you find that out?
So on the way to like my first game that I covered, I was wearing a sports jersey, and I was on FaceTime with my editor, and he was like, "What are you wearing?" And I'm like, "An Orlando City jersey." And he was like, "Oh my God, Ruth, go to Walmart, go to the first store that you can find. You need to change your shirt right now. You are not allowed in the press box wearing an Orlando." And I was like, "But it's the team. Like, I'm in Orlando. I don't get it." And he was like, "No, you have to stay unbiased. Like, they won't let you in. You just can't do that. That's something you just don't do." And I'm like, "All right, well, you learn something new every day. So thanks for giving me the heads up. I'm still thankful for FaceTime for you, because that would have never relayed if you wouldn't have saw that." So
look at
I just went and bought the very first polo that I could find at Walmart, and
Walmart polo swag.
Exactly. It worked out though, but So you learn the hard way.
That is dope, Rube. I mean, I definitely applaud you for all your accomplishments. This is your time to shine. We celebrate you. Congratulations on your new gig that's happening, paid gig, and congratulations next week. You're graduating. Like I said, you're booked and busy. You're elevating. This is going to be amazing for you. I mean, look, I'm waiting to get that feeling as well, that finally feeling. I mean, it's coming. You just got to work at it and just
don't stop. And just remember, every day, just work at it every day, and eventually you'll get to your accomplishments. You just got to keep chipping at it. You can't expect it to happen overnight.
See, you're like my counterpart. Like, everything I preach on the feed, that's literally all I say. That's dope. That's dope. Thank you so much.
Things we're on the right track, which is, that's a relief.
Yeah, I mean,
we got a good head on our shoulders,
I'm gonna try to just stay positive and just head down and grind, not worry about nothing else.
I think one of my biggest motivations is just making my dad proud. Rest in peace. I lost him a few years ago, but I carry him with me every day. And he always told me as a young girl, like, you're gonna do something in sports. You're either gonna be on TV or you're gonna be playing sports. You're gonna do one or the other. Like, you're gonna figure it out. And
wow,
I have to keep it going because I know that he's watching.
He's definitely watching. I know he's proud of you for everything you accomplish.
I'm his baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth, I like that.
He called me Baby Ruth like my whole childhood. Like I was his Baby Ruth. He used to put the little mini ones in my lunchbox as a kid. And really? I'll never forget moments like that. You
gotta cherish them, man. I want to thank you, Ruth. Please, everybody that's watching this, follow her. She has fire content coming. Be on the lookout when the season drops. 48 days, I think it is. The season will be around the corner.
I'm cooking. Let me tell you, I'm cooking. I'm cooking.
Cooking up. She's bringing that fire content only. So you guys, make sure you guys follow her. Where can they find your podcast? Like, go ahead, plug yourself in. Where you got stuff coming?
So tonight, I have the Tom Gronkowski Show airing at 9 p.m. Go to the Fans Only Sports Network, sports with a Z at the end. And you could find that content. I'll also be sharing it on all my Twitter and Instagram accounts. Follow me on Twitter. I give you a follow back. It's Ruth the Truth with 3 H's at the end. You could also follow me on Instagram. I like to do Instagram live videos. Like, for example, pregame before, the finals, I was doing like little videos, kind of talking to people and getting an idea of my audience of how they thought the game was going to go. And it's actually been a lot of fun. So look out for that on Instagram. It's Sports Truth with Babe Ruth on Instagram, and I will give you a follow back. Yeah, and just make sure to visit the sportstalkflorida.com. We have amazing writers on there that do an amazing job covering all angles of sports. And we have a YouTube channel as well. I also partnered up with Bucks Report. So make sure to be going to the Bucks Report page because they're a great, they're the #1 sports content creator for the Bucks. So, and they're putting amazing content out there. So make sure to go to Bucks Report and check out their website. The website is amazing. They put out content constantly, great articles, videos. They have a guy that's at training camp and putting out constant content on what's going on at training camp. So make sure to go to bucksreport.com and follow them on Twitter as well. So yeah, I think that's everything. I think I got everybody.
Can you just put booked and busy like in your bio now? Like, can you just put that in there for me? Because
but when people reach out and I have the time, like I'm gonna do it because why not? Just more of an audience, and we help each other out. You make fire content. I get to put my face out there, so it's a win-win for both of us. So anybody in the comments, if you have a podcast and you need a different woman's perspective, or make sure to just give me a shout and I'll make it happen.
Nice. Thank you guys for watching. Ruth, I can't thank you enough. I can't stress it that you were in this industry and you are going to be highlighted and celebrated any chance I can get. So anything you need, a follow, a shout out, retweet, whatever, I'm there. So any future collaborations, you got the approval from me. All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.
Who runs